It says he's here.
Hey,
Hi guys, how are you?
good. How are you?
Good.
Oh, there he is. All right, I couldn't see him for a second. What's going on?
Not much. Just having a wall built around my house.
Always fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is like, it's so weird, like the social distancing thing, but it's really still kind of personal, right? This is the first time I've ever had like a celebrity in my home.
I feel the same way. I mean, I have friends who I know through, Instagram and stuff that are like musicians I've loved for years who I've never gone on a date with, so to speak. I haven't like gone out and grabbed coffee with them, but then, I'll sit and like talk on an Instagram live for an hour, which I hadn't done prior to this. So, pros and cons.
New things for everyone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I'm Nick. That's Taylor with the WRRV Morning Grind. And yeah, Phineas, thanks for joining us. I have to start this off with, today is May the 4th, unofficial Star Wars Day.
Right.
When we're recording this. I want to know, are you a Star Wars fan?
I am. I'm in the, I don't know what part of the Venn diagram this group puts me into, but I don't love all, what are there, 9 now? I don't love all 9.
I lost count.
with the burning passion of like a super fan, but also I don't hate any of them. You know how there's like fans who like hate, whatever it is, Last Jedi, or like they just like, and I like all of them. There's a sound in the final one, the Rise of Skywalker, where the Emperor like makes like a more lightning than ever before, just a Star Wars moment. And the sound design is like an RIP headphones clip where it like blows the speakers, and I watch that over and over, and it makes me laugh so hard every time that I just like rewind and watch it again. I bought it like on demand to watch that clip over and over.
Really? Well, I was going to ask, so if you're not like a diehard Star Wars fan, is there something that Phineas geeks out to? Like, what do you nerd out to?
Yeah, well, I'm a diehard Harry Potter fan. I'm a diehard original Lord of the Rings trilogy fan. Yeah, I mean, those are both of the things I just mentioned are series of films that I've seen, countless times. Love all of them.
So for Harry Potter, what house would you be in?
I'd probably Slytherin.
All right.
Yeah,
that's the bad one, right? I've never seen any of that. I've never.
Well, Slytherin is like, it's the bad one in the movies, but it's like the group of like crafty ones. I don't think I'm like how Harry in the books and the movies is always going to do some reckless heroism,
Yeah.
I would not. I would call in a professor. I would be like, "Sir, there's a giant snake in this bathroom," and I would make a incredible wizard come and do that for me. So I think that puts me in the Slytherin boat.
You're just more cute.
I'm like, I'll let someone else fight this battle. Yeah, exactly.
All right, we'll get into a little bit more of the music things, as much as I do love talking about Harry Potter.
Sure.
You won 5 Grammys at the start of this year, including Album of the Year, Producer of the Year, and Best Engineered Album. How does that feel to accomplish at your age?
Insane. Super insane. That's 5 more than I ever thought. And then funny story I've not told yet. The Grammys were just literally like just delivered to us like the other day. They take a long time to get made, and then there was obviously this pandemic to contend with, so it's taken months. And they were just delivered to us, and they sent me 6, which is hilarious because I only won 5. So
possession's 9/10 of the law, brother.
I received a baker's dozen of Grammys, which is great. Yeah, well, because it's the 5 that I won, and then there was Billie and I each won 5, and we won 3 in common. We won song, album, and record, and then I won producer and engineer, and Billie won best new artist and pop vocal album. And pop vocal album is, I think, technically an award that only the artist gets because it's about their vocals.
Yeah.
but they sent me a Grammy as the producer and engineer of the pop vocal album. So I'll take it. I mean, I'm not gonna give it back.
No,
That'll be the one that I like. You know how like when you go to like an office building, they have somebody's Grammy at it. You know what I mean? That'll be the one that you guys can have. This is gonna be the public domain one.
Can we see one? Are they like? I thought they'd be like displayed on the back of the wall, and he'd be showing them off.
No, they're
so modest.
They're not in the room that I telecast. A little like Grammys are obviously beautiful, but I'm a little shy of like any of that physical accolade stuff. Like all of my plaques are just like in my bathroom. Like that's the only room I feel like comfortable having them in. Like if they were just in my living room, I'd feel like a douche.
Well, that's the thing with winning 5 Grammys. You know, does that create any kind of pressure now making new music, or your writing process now? Does that have any effect on it at all? Or do you just not really care?
I think I would probably ask that question too, but I know that it probably would for someone, but I just feel I feel like I checked that off. Do you know what I mean? Like now I'm thinking about my career, so to speak, in different terms. You know, I'm like, ooh, what other thing have I not gotten to do yet? You know what I mean? Like in a fantasy world, like I think if Billie and I made another album and our only goal was like to win, you know, another Grammy again, like that'd be kind of a shallow goal, especially because we didn't go into making this first album with that as the goal. Like we were just trying to make the record. So I don't think it's done anything for me other than like, I feel very proud of it. I think my team feels very proud of themselves because, you know, we've all obviously been sort of collectively working towards a moment like this. So I think in general, all it has done is like given me more desire to like turn my head in a different direction and just go like, what else should I be focusing on? What else should I be working on? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair,
I have probably who I won't name, but they're like titans in the songwriting production world, and they're much older than I am, and they've killed it so hard in terms of like anything you'd might hope to accomplish as a songwriter or producer, and they're still like trying to do it again, and I'm always like, dude, like just chill, like you won. Like it's like the buzzer has gone off on the basketball court and they're just still shooting from the 3-point line. Like I'm just like, you won the game. Like just calm down.
I mean, can it be a healthy thing to chase like that kind of success? Yeah.
No, it's like the did you see that movie The Two Popes that came out this past year where the requirement, like a leader, the one requirement of a great leader is to not want to be leader. And that's like, I think, you know, not that that's similar to music, but I think it is true that it's like the way to be fulfilled by something is to not have wanted it to be fulfilling. You know what I mean? Like that's when you go, oh my God, I'm so happy. If you weren't chasing it in the first place.
Yeah. And you guys have just been crushing it lately. And, you know, just over the last, you know, few years, you and Billie really took the world by storm. And I think when a lot of people look at it, it's kind of like, wow, where did these guys come from? It kind of seems overnight, but really it's anything but, because you've been grinding away for years. How long have you been performing, writing?
I've been writing songs like pretty much every day for like 10 years.
Wow.
And I started like performing in like high school bands when I was like 13, just like 9 years ago. And then Billie, obviously, we started putting out music together when she was 13, so 5 years ago. You know, I mean, in terms of most people, it's still overnight. You know, in a sense, a lot of people work 15, 20 years to get to a place. And I think we always accepted that. We always thought, oh, we're at the beginning of a very, very long climb, you know, and we got lucky in many directions. And I think Billie also, at the ages she's been at during all this, you know, just really struck a chord with the people of her generation. And I think the easiest thing about that is that Billie is actually the age of her listeners. You know, I think it's common for an artist to be 5 to 10 years older than their listener base, in terms of sort of like contemporary music. And I think the fact that Billie is looking like eye to eye with her audience is very compelling, and I think as a listener makes you feel very seen and very like understood. That's definitely how I would feel if I were, you know, that age as a fan of her. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At what point, you know, in your music adventure did you decide like music, this is the thing that I want to go all in on?
I mean, I was like 11. When I was like 11, I was like, I only want to make music. And you know, as a kid, you go through like any number of phases. Like I had a period as a kid of like, you know, like thinking, ooh, maybe I'll be like a Formula One driver. And like a period as a kid where I got really into computer animation. It's like, ooh, maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get an internship working for Pixar or something. And then, yeah, by the time I was 11, I was like, I actually like, the only thing I want to do is music in all forms. But I was, at the time, I thought this is probably also a phase, and by the time I'm 15, I'll be interested in something else. And I just never ever got interested in anything else. I mean, I'm interested in a lot of stuff, but I never like was not interested in music. So yeah, I mean, it's been about like whatever that makes it, you know, 11 years of just like being obsessed with music.
So even though you are dead set on music and obviously incredibly successful at it, you've done a little bit of acting in the past. You were in the indie film Life Inside Out, and you were even in Glee. Would you go back to acting at all?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think it's like an ebb and flow thing. You know, I think if I ever got to a point where I was like, whoa, for the next couple months, I'm pretty burnt out on music, I would be thrilled to go be a part of a great project. I think the other thing about acting, my girlfriend and I talk about it a lot. She acts too. Like I'm in the luxurious standpoint of having like music, which is like my foundation of my life. And I think, you know, when I used to act, I was like trying to pay for my studio time. Essentially, I was like trying to make enough money to finance my EP for my band. You know, I think now I'm in the like super advantaged standpoint of like, I don't know that I would like go in for an audition for like a pizza guy in a commercial for like, I think I would like, it'd be very project oriented. I think if some incredible, you know, filmmaker said, I'm working on this thing, are you interested in it? I would be like, totally, if it's you know what I mean? Because then it's more like being like, not that he's asked, but like we're close with Alfonso Cuarón from like who did Roma, Children of Men, and Gravity. Like if a person like that ever said, do you want to do anything, like you're like not allowed to say no to being involved in their project. Like they're so brilliant. So, you know, assuming anyone ever asked, I'd say yes.
Yeah, that kind of leads me into my next question. I want to talk about No Time to Die, you know, with the when you approached for that project, were you like, yeah, all in, done, or was there any hesitation there? Are you a Bond fan, or is it just like, well, you just can't say no to this?
I mean, yeah, that was one of the things that we had always dreamed about doing, and I kind of said to our team, you know, whenever you get word that they're making the next Bond film, I would love to be a part of that conversation. So, you know, we were meeting with Barbara Broccoli and MGM, you know, pre-principal photography for that movie, just because we were so passionate about the idea. And we wanted to get the song right and have access to some portion of the script. And, you know, it was an incredibly exciting process. And yeah, something that, you know, exactly what you're talking about, like another one of those instances where you're like, yeah, not a thing that I would ever turn down. It's been a real joy. I mean, I've loved all those movies. I grew up seeing them with my dad. Billy loves all those movies. I love all those theme songs. I love Chris Cornell's. I love Jack White's. I mean, the Shirley Bassey ones are unbelievable. Paul McCartney's is unbelievable. I love Adele and Sam. So it was just like a lineage that was like, oh, if you get to be a part of this, like, of course.
Yeah, they're all so iconic, and now you're in the club.
It's cool. It's really rad. We wrote the song while we were on tour in October, and that was like a fun insular process in and of itself. We were playing all these shows in Texas, and like backstage, I was like sitting at a piano writing that song with Billy, and then one morning I finished like the first round of production of it at like 4 a.m. and like we sent it in, and I woke up to like a text from our team that was like, "This is so good," and I was really excited. It was really fun.
So kind of moving into your solo work, your EP Blood Harmony was released this past fall. You wanted the title to be a little ambiguous, but also said that it's an expression. Can you talk a little bit more about the title of it?
Yeah, so it's an expression that I heard from the DJ Phil Taggart in England, part of the BBC. And the conversation was me and Billy talking about like the fact that we're related to each other and that we sing together and that it sounds like more unified than when most people sing together. And he was like, well, it's that blood harmony. It's that like you guys have the same DNA. Like you're literally like your vocal cords are like more similar than most people's. And I loved that sort of actual direct definition of it. I'd never heard that term. And in many ways, that's like I've had the great good fortune to be like Billy's, creative right hand in the past several years. And I like the idea of sort of like labeling myself as like the blood harmony of that, because she's obviously singing lead on all those songs. And then the other sort of more abstract term was just like, I just liked those two words and all the images that they come with, right? Like if something's harmonious, it works well with something. It makes sense, it's peaceful. And then if something requires like, a sacrifice or like blood, it's like something that you toil over, it's torture. So I feel like that's like in many ways like what making a body of work is like. It's like really painful and also really beautiful. So I liked the term, and it's not on the EP. Like there's no line about it. And I've always thought that was cool. I've always really liked when artists do that. Billy does that a lot. Billy, like, don't smile at me. It's not a line in any of her songs and stuff. So I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. And the story behind your hit single, Let's Fall in Love for the Night, is so incredibly romantic. When I heard about this, I was like, oh my God, like, this is what I want. Can you tell us about the story?
Yeah, it was this song that I had, I was on tour with Billy back in 2018 in the month of August, like late August. And we were in Japan. And Japan is an amazing place, but not a place that I feel super at home. And so after our long days of like getting wherever we needed to go and, foraging for food and playing shows, like you just feel like a real beginner in a country where you speak so little of the native language. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those places, like if you go to like Europe, for example, like there's all of the French writing and then all of the English. Like, go to Japan, like it's Japanese everywhere. So it's like much harder to navigate. So I'd kind of would like shelter in my hotel room, and it was 1 billion degrees. So I'd shelter in my like air conditioned hotel room wearing like a kimono. And I would play this chord pattern on guitar. And I was fantasizing about this date that I was not going on with a girl that did not live anywhere near me. And so I wrote sort of the whole song as this kind of like fantasy date, and then wrote it over the course of like the week in Osaka, Japan, and then finished it on touring is so ridiculous. We'd like flown from Osaka to Hawaii to finish our tour to play the show at the Republic in Honolulu. And it was the week of Hurricane Lane in Hawaii. And so we were like, flying into a hurricane to play a show like a day before it was scheduled so that we could then leave during the hurricane. It was all like ridiculous. So that was like, I was writing this like sort of sweet, like boppy Beach Boys love song during like the weirdest week of my life, but it was fun.
Another song on your EP, Shelter, was actually written 2 years back. Why were you so surprised that you still liked it when you discovered it as you were going through material?
Well, it was a song I had written. I got sent a pitch from one of Avicii's A&Rs when he was still alive. It was, like he's looking for new songs. Do you want to try to write one? And I wrote Shelter in 45 minutes and sent it over. I just thought this would be cool. Like if Avicii did production on this, it would be huge. And he passed away. And I had no knowledge of whether or not he ever even heard the song, but it was like a song that I was like, oh man, like I love that song. And it's tragic that whether or not he would have ever put it out, like it just went away because of that whole project. So it's after a period of time, I like went back to it and was like, oh, this song should still come out. And in many ways, I thought this song should come out, especially because I liked the idea of a person who was, I mean, I forget what day he passed away, but I liked the idea of his influence living much longer than he was, able to. I think that's like always your goal as an artist, is to have like an impact. I mean, like you look at like a Steve Jobs or someone whose impact resonates. I like the idea of like, this song wouldn't exist if I hadn't been writing it for Avicii, and here we are 2 years later, and now you're hearing a song that was inspired by him. So I enjoyed that sort of thought process.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you were just doing touring, supporting your EP. Are there any future tour plans? And if so, have they been affected by COVID-19 like everything else?
Yeah. I mean, I would love to tour. I think I probably won't tour until I have an album under my belt. But yeah, I mean, I think now that we're getting a clearer and clearer understanding of the timeline of all this, I'm assuming I'll do a tour at some point in 2021, which is, the soonest anyone will be touring. Insane. But yeah, I mean, I love playing live shows so much. I love playing them with Billy. I love playing them alone. And, as long as they're in semi-moderation, they're always great. When you play like a million in a row, you like lose your mind. But
yeah, I bet.
It's not because the show or the crowd isn't great. It's just that you go crazy.
Yeah, you got to be drained too.
It's crazy. So I think this period of time, like I honestly, like, this is the longest period of time off of playing a live show I think we would ever have. Like, I don't think there's a world where, if this didn't happen or after this is all behind us, there will ever be like an 8-month gap between live shows. It's just unprecedented. It's like insane. Because normally, like, even if we're not on tour, we play like 1 or 2 shows a month, like somewhere.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you're calling us from LA, right? So you're in California.
Yeah.
And I think it was your governor, Gavin Newsom. Yeah. I think because you had mentioned 2021. He was the one that kind of predicts like we won't see concerts till 2021 or till there's a vaccine. I was curious, what is your personal, do you think that's a realistic expectation, or do you kind of think music and live shows will adapt and kind of overcome this? We're hearing here how they're talking about drive-through shows. Like, do you think that is a realistic expectation, 2021?
I think whenever there is a vaccine is the expectation. I think that we're being sort of conservative globally in our estimates of vaccines, because we know how long all of the vaccines before this one have taken. And so I think people like Fauci, who are wonderful, are sort of saying, listen, don't waste your time with optimism here. It's going to take 12 to 18 months. That being said, when saying annual, I think quite frankly, considering every group of scientists in the world is currently working on a vaccine, I wouldn't be shocked if it's around the end of this year. But that being said, it's a planned infrastructure of touring and of venues. I'm sure that'll be 2021. Michael Rapino from Live Nation posted a bunch of photos of DriveThru Concerts in Germany yesterday, and I texted Ryan Tedder and was like, imagine finishing a song and bowing and just being honked at by like 400 people. But I was like, that sucks. Like, Billy and I are never gonna want to play a fucking drive-through concert. but that doesn't mean they won't
during the show.
We're just not gonna want to do it. I'm ready today to go to a drive-through movie theater, though. I love drive-ins. I loved going as a kid. They need to just bring those back right now. But I don't think drive-through concerts are gonna be. It's also like very impractical for ticket sales. Like, a car is like 7 people. You know what I mean? Like, if you're assuming that 1 or 2 people are in every one of their Ford Fiesta, then it's like, I don't know. Like, you have like Swedish House Mafia playing for like 113 people in a parking lot in Wyoming. It's like very weird. So I don't put much I wouldn't bet money in
faith and drive-through.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm sure it'll be, you know, sooner than later. I mean, listen, it's been 7 weeks right now since the safer at home order started in California, and it feels like it's been 6 days. So I don't. I think it'll all go by quite quickly. Assuming you stay healthy, I think that's the quantification. If this is affecting your health or someone you care about's health, then it's going to feel endless. But if you stay safe, it'll be fast.
And my last question for you is, what's your quarantine go-to snack?
Oh, I like that question. Do you know, like, there's a brand of, like, I don't do like dairy products.
Yeah.
Allergic to them. But there's a brand of like dairy-free mochi, like the ice cream, like mochi balls that are so good. Those are, because it's been so hot in LA, so that's been like and they're like, they're very like moderate in terms of like their amount. So you grab like one, and you walk in your backyard, and your dog jumps up at you, tries to grab it out of your hand and stuff. That's my snack. That and just like a lot of coffee, a lot of cold brew coffee.
Are you binging on anything currently? Are you a binger?
We did the Tiger King, which is like national required viewing at this point in terms of quarantine. And then I'm a big fan of Ozark, and they have a third season of Ozark, which I haven't watched yet, but I'm gearing up. The issue is that I'm quarantining. I'm
not going to spoil anything for you.
You've seen it.
I've seen it. Yes.
My girl hasn't seen it, like any of that show, and we're quarantining together. So it's like kind of shitty to be like, hey babe, like I'm gonna watch an entire season of a show and you haven't even seen the first two. Like it's not very like communal, let's say.
Yeah.
I would feel the same as if she made me watch Love is Blind or something.
But I came into that show like halfway through season 2. My girlfriend was watching it, so like I think you could. I think she would like it.
I'll be like,
it's an intense season. It's an intense season.
He always gets into these terrible situations. Oh, this show is so intense. It's one of those like feel bad TV shows. Like you just watch it. And oh god.
Like Shameless. It's just a train wreck, you know.
I think because of the heaviness of the media climate right now, I've been gravitating towards like pretty airy content. Like it's not the period of time where I'm like, I want to watch a Westworld or something. I'm like, no. I just want to watch like The Office again, or like things of that nature. I binged Barry season 2.
I
haven't seen Barry yet, but I love Bill Hader.
Barry is like a real easy, like the episodes are like 20 minutes long. There's only like 8 a season. It's great. Super worth watching.
I'm going to check it out. All right. I think that's all we had. Unless you had time, you have a minute to play a quick game.
Sure. Let's go.
Yeah. Do you want to play Phineas Fact or Fiction?
Sure.
There's just some, I don't know if they're facts. I thought I would ask you if this is fact or fiction. Okay. These are some things we dug up online. All right. So Phineas, fact or fiction? It says Phineas has never bought a CD, like a physical CD. Is that fact or fiction?
That's fact. The only
what?
CD, yeah, I mean, I've been given, like, I remember getting given some CDs by a neighbor at a garage sale. I got given a CD by Youth of Today and a CD by The Shins. I got given Shoots Too Narrow, and I got given Politic by Coldplay. Or, sorry, A Rush of Blood to the Head.
Yeah.
The only other CD that I ever briefly owned was that I rented Animal by Kesha from the Los Angeles Public Library and then burned it and then returned it.
All right, Phineas, fact or fiction? Phineas was an amazing student in school.
Well, that's fiction because I never went to school at all. So, fiction. Yeah, I mean, my parents and their couple friends who knew more about geography than they did taught me everything, and I was like a average student at best.
All right, last one. Phineas, fact or fiction? Phineas is a diehard Avril Lavigne fan. Any truth to that?
Fact. Yeah, I mean, I think
turn the camera. Are there posters? Are there any posters in that room?
I'm not like a poster guy, but I do love Avril. I mean, I think Let Go, especially, is just like really stood the test of time. Great songwriting. Her attitude is like flawless on that album. it just sounds great. Like, I just love that album. And her voice is like phenomenal. Like, I feel like her voice is not that she's, you know, overrated, but like her voice is incredible. Yeah, I'm a huge Avril Lavigne fan.
I actually have an Avril Lavigne CD in my car right now.
Did you buy it though? Did you?
I did buy it.
She, yeah, I mean, I remember loving, you know, that song "Complicated." Well, I had to go and make things. That was like my jam when I was like 5. I was like 6 and 7. I loved "Let Go," the album. There's called "Losing Grip." That's so bomb. "I'm With You" is so bomb. She's the best.
Is that the same album with "He's Just a Skater Boy"?
Yeah, of course.
See you later.
She's one of the people that has come to. She's come to like a show or two of Billie's, and like I give them my like regards of like, oh my god, I'm such a huge fan, but I can't then have any semblance of a conversation with them because it's like I feel like I'm meeting like the pontiff. Like, I just am like, this is. I have nothing to add here. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you meet someone that you don't idolize, even if they're famous, you can have like an interesting conversation about like something. But with her, I'm like, I have nothing of value to say to you. I love you, and then I just walk away.
Just totally not worthy.
No, yeah, her and then Billy Joe Armstrong, same deal. He's so nice too. He'll be like, so what are you listening to, man? I'm just like, you, and then I have nothing of value to give to Billy Joe Armstrong.
I think I'm all set. Taylor, you got anything? I can't see her. You good?
I think we're all set.
Yeah. All right. Well, man, thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it.
Take care, you guys.
Thanks.
All right. Later.
Bye.
Ozark season 3. He's gone. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.